So 2 years ago today, we sold everything, well, almost everything, and packed up our entire lives into suitcases and moved our family of five from the United States to Spain. So today I want to sit down and talk about what it's been like, what I imagine life would be like and whether it turned out that way or not. So let's have an honest chat and let's see what life has been like the last 2 years here in Spain. So I don't know if you guys remember, but in 2024, April 2024, I posted a video saying that we were moving to Spain, and a lot of people were like, what? I did not see that coming. We would come to Spain a lot because my in-laws live here, specifically Alicante, Spain. And if you are from California, like Southern California, Alicante, Spain reminds me a lot of Orange County, like South Orange County, San Clemente, Laguna Niguel, like Dana Point, Laguna Beach, like that area of Orange County. It reminds me a lot of it. And we lived there for a while, for a few years in the beginning of our marriage, because my husband was in the military. He was stationed in Camp Pendleton. So that's where we had to live. And we loved it. We absolutely loved it. If we were ever to move back to the United States, I would love to move back there. Like that's where I would want to live. And my husband too. Our oldest son, Alex, was born there. So it's a very special place in our heart. And Alicante just reminds me of that because of the weather, the scenery, and everything. Obviously, it has like a European feel to it because it is Europe and not California. But it definitely reminds me a lot of San Clemente. And I think that's one of the reasons why I feel at home here. And having my in-laws here also helps a lot because we're not alone. And we have always been alone ever since we became parents. Like my mom lived far away, my dad lived far away, and then my in-laws lived far away always. So we never really had family besides the times that my sister-in-law would come over, but she was only with us for short periods of time. So it's not like, we had, and plus, it's not the same as having grandparents around. So now we have my in-laws around, and it's been really, really nice. So that's how we ended up here in Alicante, because they were here, and it definitely made the move a lot easier. We were able to find a place to live a lot faster because they knew of a realtor that they can contact and stuff like that. So it made it a lot easier, and I'm very, very grateful for that. We decided to move here, like we made it official in February or March of 2024, but we had been planning to move to Spain at some point since like 2016. We knew we wanted to end up in Spain. We just didn't know when or where in Spain we were going to end up in. So when the opportunity came up for us to move back in 2024, we jumped on it and applied for our visas immediately. And we were here by July 2nd. So we were not kidding. We sold everything that we could. We donated whatever we could and packed up our entire lives, and we ended up here. When we moved here, I wasn't expecting life to be like a permanent vacation because we knew we were moving our life here and we wanted to create a life here. It wasn't going to be, like a vacation. But when we first moved here, it did feel like it for a little bit. It felt like our place was an Airbnb that we were in, because we had been here so many times that it just didn't feel any different, and it wasn't until the boys started school in September that we actually started to feel like, okay, this is real life. This is serious. And it definitely was a culture shock to send the boys to school because of the Valenciano that they speak. And that I wasn't expecting. I will say, I was not expecting that. We knew the boys were going to go to a school where they spoke Spanish and then a little bit of Valenciano, but I wasn't expecting it to be as prominent as it is, at least in the school that they go to. We live in the Valencian community, so it's one of the official languages, and my boys are starting to become fluent in Valenciano, which I think is great. The only bad thing about Valenciano is if they choose to live in a different part of Spain, if they want to live in Barcelona, if they want to live in Madrid, they don't speak Valenciano there. They speak Catalan. Madrid, I don't think they have a language. And then if they want to live in Galicia, then they have to speak Gallego. So it's like, it's there's pros and cons to learning Valenciano. But as of right now, I really like the fact that they're learning a new language and they are exercising their brain, which I think is pretty cool. I will say it's been hard to find a routine to till now, and it's been 2 years. And for me, I still have a hard time with my routine. And I think it's because I still haven't been able to get out of that mentality of waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning, going to the gym at 5, starting my day by 7, dinner by 6, in bed by 8 or 9. And I'm trying really hard to break away from that. And at some times it has been hard for me emotionally because I feel like I can't find myself. I'm still trying to find my identity. And I've decided that I'm still going to allow myself to wake up at 4 in the morning because I just like it. And it's weird because I'm naturally not a morning person. I'm naturally a night owl. But for some reason in Florida, I was able to create that routine, and it just stuck with me. So I give myself grace. I allow myself to wake up at 4 in the morning and enjoy that time with me, myself, and I will either watch TV, I'll get some work done, I'll crochet. I don't put a lot of pressure on myself to be productive because I feel like in the US I had this mentality of, oh, you have to be productive and you have to be go, 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 busy, 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 busy in order to feel accomplished, I guess. And here, I don't put that pressure on myself at all. Life is definitely slower here. And like I mentioned in a different video, slower doesn't necessarily mean like that aesthetically pleasing slow life that you see online. It just means life is slower. It means you're not in a high pace environment all the time of what's next and what's the next step and what are we going to do next. And I like that. It's a lot less stressful for sure. When it comes to the food here, I feel like I cook a lot more than I ever have in my entire life, to be honest with you. I did not know how to cook when we got married. And so if anything, my husband taught me how to cook a lot of it. And then I just learned to follow recipes, and little by little I learned tricks, and now I cook. But in the US, I feel like there's a lot of convenience when it comes to food. You can order out. There's DoorDash and all that, and then a lot of frozen ready to eat food. And here you will see that, but it's not as common. I feel like I find myself cooking a lot more from scratch, a lot more from, or just a lot more often, and food just feels a lot healthier. Because when we went to the US for my sister-in-law's wedding, I had McDonald's and it did not do well with my stomach. It did not sit well with my stomach at all. I had a McMuffin and it was just not good at all. So my stomach is not used to that anymore. I'm glad it did okay with hot Cheetos because I do miss hot Cheetos. And the first thing I do when I get to the US is get a Diet Coke and lemon hot Cheetos. I know not the healthiest, but it was my vice when I lived in the US and I loved it. And I miss it. I wish I could have some hot Cheetos. But yeah, when it comes to the food here, it's different, and the food is definitely better. I still haven't adapted the Mediterranean diet, and I get comments on that all the time by Spanish people always telling me that I eat very unhealthy. And it's like, we're trying to break these small habits little by little. We're working on it, and we will. It's only been 2 years that we've been here, and we were in the US for a lot longer than that. So that was all we knew. Life is definitely healthier here for sure because we don't have a car. So we do stay pretty active. We walk a lot. Sometimes it's like 11 a.m. and I have already hit 10,000 steps because you're walking everywhere. And thankfully where we live, it's not as uphill, so there aren't very many hills. If not, I would be dead, especially right now in the summertime. We went to Porto, Portugal last month, and everything was uphill and it was so exhausting. And I go, how do people live like this? But it's how life is here. You're just forced to be healthier and a little bit more active. And I am not as active as I was when it comes to the gym in the US because the gyms here, I just haven't been able to get used to them. They're just smaller, they're hot, and I feel like people stare a little bit more than they do in the US. In the US, I feel like everybody's in their own little world. Here, I find people staring a lot, so I'm not used to it. I was able to find Pilates, which is nice, and I absolutely love Pilates. It has done things to my body that the gym just didn't do. It touches muscles that the gym just couldn't touch. And I enjoy Pilates. I actually really do. So with Pilates, with eating better and walking everywhere, I definitely feel a lot healthier here, for sure. One thing though is that, you still bring yourself with you. Going to a new country is not going to solve your problems. Anything that you were going through in your old place is going to follow you here. It's just in a different language and in a different locations. So for example, like anxiety, depression, you still have your marriage, you still have your kids, you still have, your baggage that comes with you. I do feel like my mental health is better here, but I still have my times. I mean, I take medication for my mental health because it's just something that I have. It's just, I'm just dealing with it in a different country. So you still have anxiety. You think about the future. You think about if things can change for, our legal status at some point, or whatever's going on back home in the US. You still bring all that with you. But thankfully, I do feel like my mental health is a little bit more controlled here. I'm able to focus more on my mental health and just say, okay, this is what I'm feeling. This is why I'm feeling it. And I deal with it. I will say I feel less lonely here than I did in the US, like ever. And I had friends in the US. The only problem was that my closest friends live completely far away from me. And then the friends that I had close by, they had their own lives. So it was really hard to just meet up for coffee or go somewhere because we would have to plan weeks, sometimes months in advance. So it's not as spontaneous like it is here. Here, people will just be like, hey, let's go grab a coffee. Let's go grab a drink. Let's go eat something. And people just make having a social life more of a priority here than I feel like they do in the US. So I haven't felt as lonely. I actually don't think I can't think of a moment that I have felt lonely. Maybe I haven't, I can't remember. But I just don't feel lonely here. And for some reason, that just hasn't been my case. And I'm very grateful because I know starting over can be very lonely to some people, especially if you don't know the language. For me, knowing Spanish, even though I have my struggles sometimes with the Spanish here, it's been easy for me to be able to connect with other people. So I know that people that move abroad that don't speak the language have a harder time making connections. So my kids have adapted well. Thankfully, I was not expecting them to adapt as well as they have. They do have their struggles, obviously, and I can talk about the struggles in a different video. I just have to find the words so that I can respect their privacy as much as I can. But we do deal with a special needs child, and I can go into that. One of our kids was diagnosed with autism when we got here, and I can talk about all that process and how it went, and we've had a positive experience. I will tell you that. So spoiler alert, it's been a positive experience. I will say though that somewhere along the way of this whole journey, living in Spain has felt more like home than just a place we moved to. What I'm dealing with now, 2 years later, is finding my identity again. And that is because if you've watched my other videos, my airline went out of business in May. And so now I'm trying to find my identity again on social media because I started out as a flight attendant vlogger and then moved to lifestyle mommy stuff. And then I didn't want to do the mommy stuff anymore. So then American in Spain. And so I'm trying to find my identity again on social media and then also personally because I don't know if I'm going to go back to flying, what I want to do. I'm trying to find that out again. And that's probably what I'm struggling with. It's just the identity crisis. And I hope I'm able to figure that out soon because I'm 35. I still have plenty of time, but also I want to be able to have enough work time where I can have a career, make a career out of something, if that makes sense. And I really like that this conversation goes into the series that I started, which is Rerouted. And it goes perfectly with the rerouted concept because we rerouted ourselves from the US to moving here and then now the flight attendant stuff. So I really like the name and I'm really glad that you guys liked it too in the last video where I talked about how this series is going to be called Rerouted. Life doesn't always go according to plan. It doesn't always take you to where you thought it would take you. So it's been interesting. It's been fun. It's been stressful. There have been times, I will say, that we have thought about whether or not this was the right decision because we have had a few struggles here and there when it comes to the kids. If we see the kids having a hard time with something, or if I'm having a hard time with something, my husband's having a hard time with something, and we wonder, but we know at the end of the day we made the right choice. We don't see ourselves going back to the US anytime soon. No, like we don't see that anytime soon. Never say never. I am a huge believer in never say never, because you never know where life is going to take you. You never know what will happen. I didn't think 2 years ago or 3 years ago that we would be living in Spain in 2026. I knew it would happen in the future, just not, that close. So you just never know. So never say never. That's my thing. All right. So final thoughts. Would I do this again? Absolutely. I would absolutely do this all over again. I would go through the stressful process of applying for the visa and waiting and selling everything, moving and going to Texas and doing everything that we did to get here. I would absolutely do it all over again. If anything, when I think about that, it's very nostalgic, because I remember how excited we were. I remember how the unknown was very exciting, which is weird because I do not like the unknown. I do not like the unknown. I need a plan. I need to know what's next. That's just me. But it was exciting. It was new. It was exciting, and I look back at those times and I think of how nostalgic it is. One thing I like is that we have grown in ways that I don't think would have been possible if we would have stayed comfortable in the US, because we were comfortable in the US when it came to our lifestyle and our routine and everything, and we removed ourselves from the comfort zone that we had, the comfort bubble that we were in, and moving removed us from that, and we've grown in so many different ways that I don't think would have been possible if we would have stayed in the US, for sure. And I also don't think you have to have everything figured out. Like, you don't have to know everything before you take the leap. Obviously plan, be prepared, but you don't have to have everything figured out. You have to have an open mind that you will have to adjust even after you move. So I think that's all I can think of. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Maybe I can do a Q&A of 2 years living in Spain and whatever it is that you guys want to know, and I'll definitely sit down and make a video. So thank you so much for tuning in to another video of Rerouted. I really like this because I feel like this is therapeutic. I don't know, I really enjoy this. So I hope you guys are enjoying this series of Rerouted. Let me know what you guys want to see, what topics you guys want to talk about. I do have a lot of things that I want to talk about, and I just need to find the time to make all these videos because I have so much that I want to talk to you guys about. So let me know in the comments what you want to see and what plans you guys have for the summer, what stage of life you're in, whether you're starting over, what is it that you are doing with your life right now. Maybe you're in the middle of your own reroute, so let me know. Okay, so I'm going to end this video here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if it's your first time here, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.